Well, the world is a dumpster fire. Nothing here makes sense. And you vacillate between crippling fear and constant self-defense. And nothing's right and nothing's good. And you're paralyzed with grief. Don't kill yourself, just have a cup of coffee.
Welcome to Coffee Over Suicide, the dramedy podcast about mental illness and choosing life over death, one cup of coffee at a time. I'm your host, Chris Parker Howard, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We're going to do something a little bit weird this time around. I'm not going to talk too much because every time I start talking a lot, I end up saying something incredibly dumb. I have to stop it and then start recording again, and that takes me about 45 minutes before I can get 3 minutes of usable talk, which, if you really think about it, if you've listened to any of the other episodes, I'm calling what I did there usable. So here we are. I have two people in front of me. They are Coffee Over Suicide All-Stars. And so, without further ado, let me just introduce our panel for the day, Mr. Tim Rooney and Jill Tarnoff. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. I'm clapping for you.
And I'm clapping for you.
Perfect.
And I'm clapping for both of you in my heart.
Thank you.
So welcome. I kind of thought that it's been a while since anybody's checked in with you, and since both of you have episodes that are very popular among the listeners, I thought it would be great for people to hear what you're doing now or what you've been doing since the last time we talked. So we can do this really in any format we see fit. This is like a Thanksgiving dinner. We have wine. We're probably going to fight. And, we'll see how all of this shakes out.
I got 2 bottles of wine here that say I'm going to win.
Jenna,
Great.
everybody take a sip to that.
Yeah.
Oh, is this a drink?
Cheers. Cheers, everybody.
There we go.
Is it a drink? Podcast?
I might have got a little close to the mic there.
So why don't we do this? Tim, the last time we talked, we were discussing pretty much all we talked about was your fast food addiction. And we didn't get into any of the other areas where you are really fucked up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wanted to save that for a special occasion.
Right.
And what better occasion than right now? So since that was February.
Yeah.
And since then, I have now moved out to Colorado.
Awesome.
I have found myself employment.
Welcome to Coffee Over Suicide, the dramedy
That's the boring
podcast
stuff.
about mental
So,
illness
February,
and choosing life
I,
over death, one cup
went
of
back
coffee
home.
at a time.
And I basically
I'm your host, Chris Parker
came out
Howard.
to Colorado
And
with
happy
that,
Thanksgiving, everybody. We're going to do
choice
something a
of-
little bit weird
Should
this
I
time
stay?
around.
Should I
I'm not going to talk too much because every time Did someone have to let you
start
know? talking a lot,
well,
I
I
end up saying
figured if I
something
stayed,
incredibly
there'd be
dumb.
trouble.
I have to stop it and
But
then
if I
start recording again,
left,
and that takes me about
it'd be
45 minutes before I can get 3 minutes of
No, but
usable
seriously, I forgot the lyrics. So anyway,
if you really think about it,
yeah.
if you've
I
listened
think
to
I've
any of the
heard
other
that
episodes,
story before.
I'm calling what I did there.
Seriously.
So here
anyway,
we are. I have two
so I
people
went
in
home
front of me.
and-
They are
home was
Coffee
an
Over
issue.
Suicide
So I went back home.
All-Stars.
I fell in love with Colorado when I was
And so,
And,
without
and-
further ado, let me
well,
just introduce
sorry, I'm not
our
a native.
panel for the day.
But, I want to put
Mr. Tim Rooney
Colorado
and
transplant
Jill
on the back
Tarnoff.
of my car.
You want to get thank you?
Yeah, exactly.
I got an $800 car.
There you go. I'm clapping for you.
And I'm
clapping for you.
Perfect.
You want to make it $750?
Some guy left.
So
Oh,
welcome.
an advertisement
I
on
kind of
my
thought
car
that it's been a
the other
while
day, and it kinda
since
pissed me
anybody's
off 'cause
checked in
I'm
with
at
you,
the parking
and
lot.
since both
And
of you
I
have
get-
episodes that
What's
are
it? Yeah,
very
really.
popular.
Well, and he's talking
among
about
the
cleaning
listeners,
my
I thought it would
headlights.
be great for people.
And it's like, I'm looking at this
to
thing
hear
going, and it's
what
all like,
you're doing
improve the
now
value
or
of your
what
car.
you've
I'm
been
like, my
doing
car could be
since
bought for like
the
a
last time we
case of beer.
talked.
You
Yeah.
know, it's really not
Motherfucker,
worth
this
it.
car is not worth the toothpaste it would take me to clean these headlights for myself. We
But
have
he'll do
wine.
it for you, you know.
probably going to fight. And, we'll see
But-
how all of this
so-
shakes out.
I got 2 bottles of wine here that say I'm going to win.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the good stuff.
That's the high-class stuff.
Everybody take a sip
are
to
you-
that.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Clink,
this a
clink,
drinking?
little.
Cheers, everybody.
There we go.
That's a deep cut.
So, I might have been close to the mic there.
So why don't we do this?
Where was
This does feel like
the last
Thanksgiving.
time- Yeah, it does. So-
we
more
were
Uncle
discussing
Yeah, okay.
pretty much
So
all
after
we
I got
talked
the
about
bodies out of the
was
truck,
your fast food
I
addiction.
no. So
And we didn't get
Let me
into
go
any
back
of the
to,
other areas
let me go
where
back
you
to
are
the story
really
here.
fucked up.
Please.
yeah, well,
You're doing so well.
I wanted to save that for a special occasion.
What better
and
occasion
what better
is?
occasion than right now? So since it was February,
Yeah.
and since then I have now moved out to Colorado.
Had some financial issues.
I have
I'm going to let people know.
found myself
Basically,
employment.
I came out to Colorado with the option of trying
and
to find a job. And
That's the
relocate
boring
my family.
stuff. So February,
Didn't work out.
I
and that's when the rototiller
went
started
back
in my
home,
life.
and I basically came out to
But I basically
Colorado
went
with
home with the
that
decision if I didn't get the
choice
job, I
of
was going to file bankruptcy.
should I
And
stay
got
or
a
should I
call from the
go?
guy who I went to the interview
You know.
with.
Uh,
He said,
Did someone have to let you know?
well, I figured if I stayed, there'd be
told me
trouble.
that it wasn't going to happen, and I
But
literally
if
got
I
off the phone, and 10 minutes later,
left,
so then
it'd be double.
that was March, April.
No, but
My
seriously,
best
I
friend.
forgot the lyrics. So anyway,
Super profound.
yeah,
I
it's
think
pretty-
I've heard that story
Another
before.
friend dies,
Oh, we are.
and then in August,
Dust.
my brother dies.
No, seriously.
Trifecta
So anyway,
death.
um,
Those people that, you know,
so I went home and
in my
Where's
life
home?
were-
home was in Michigan.
Okay.
So I went back home. I fell in love with Colorado when I was out here.
Yeah.
And
You and everybody else.
so well, and sorry, I'm not a native. But, I want to put Colorado transplant on the back of my car.
I,
Do you want to get
so-
rear-ended?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got an $800 car.
There you go, perfect.
So
I
You want to make it 750?
$750. Some guy left an advertisement on my car the other day that kind of pissed me off because I'm at the park and ride.
Welcome
I
to
get-
Colorado.
So
What's it? Yeah, really. Well, and he's talking about cleaning my headlights. And it's like, I'm looking at this thing going, and it's all like, improve the value of your car. I'm like, my car could be bought for like a case of beer.
Yeah.
You know, it's really not worth
Motherfucker, this
anything.
car is not worth the toothpaste it would take me to clean this headlights myself.
But he'll do it for you, you know, with his special.
So, but on
space,
top of all
you know,
of
whatever,
that,
maybe he was
I mean,
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
you-
no,
but
I've been depressed.
so
yeah, but I mean, we
There's
didn't even
smokers.
touch on that in the other episode.
No
I mean,
advertising
all we
there.
really Good talked stuff. about was the
It's
fact
high
that
class stuff.
you were filling the
Are
depression
your
hole
teeth
with
falling out in
chalupas.
yellow?
Yes,
Try
exactly.
Topol.
Talk about it.
That's a deep cut.
So,
Yeah.
Because then it's like if I had
Where was I?
Taco
This does
Bell,
feel like Thanksgiving.
I'll go right
yeah,
down
it does.
So I
Yeah.
so
Tell us more, Uncle Tim.
Yeah, okay. So after I got the bodies out of the trunk,
Yeah.
so
Well, that's great.
Let me go back.
I mean,
to,
you're in Colorado
let me
now.
go back
You
to
can
the
have a
story
Jack
here.
in the Box. Or, you know.
Okay, so I went back home. I know it's going in circles. I
Yeah,
could do this all
exactly.
night. Come on.
So, well, good
So
for
I get home,
you.
and I had a
I'm
decision
glad to
make.
see you've replaced
Basically, long
Taco
story
Bell
short,
with something
I-
safe like wine.
I never do
Why
that.
not just go for alcoholism?
Culture.
Had some financial issues.
Absolutely.
That's right.
I speak freely of it. I'm going to let
This
people
is
know.
good. Hey,
Basically,
you can smell the screws
I came
on
out to Colorado with the option of trying to find a job.
So, Jill,
and relocating my
talk to
family.
me a little bit about
Didn't
where
work
you've
out,
been from
and that's when
the
the
last
road
time that
started
we
going through my
talked.
life.
You were talking
Not to
about
get all downer here.
whether
But I
or not
basically went
you
home
were
with the
going
decision if I
to
didn't get the job,
continue
I was gonna
with
file
the
bankruptcy. And I
current
got a call from the
adventure,
guy who
or
I
if you
went to
were
the
going
interview
to
with.
stake out on
He
your own
said,
and do
you
something
know,
else.
we can't. He kind of basically, told me that it wasn't going to happen, and I literally got off the phone, and 10 minutes later, talked to a lawyer. So then,
Right.
that was March, April. One of
If
my
you'd
best
like to
friends
be
of
miserable
30
Monday through
some
Friday,
years dies
turn to page
suddenly.
96.
Couple months later, another friend dies, and then in August, my brother dies. So it's like the trifecta of death. Close people that that are in my life, or well, not anymore, but were in my life. Not to be morbid. Come on, it's death. You got to laugh about
Yeah,
it.
how was Texas?
So anyway, we'll get to that later. So I got my wife on board. In fact, Chris, you were instrumental in doing that. I was all geeked and excited. I'm like, we're moving to Colorado. And Angelique, my wife, well, I said her name now. She was like, what? And then you got on the phone, and by the end of the conversation, she was geeked. So we all moved. My son was ready to jump on board, and we all came out here and, Oregon trailed our way back out here and got an apartment, got jobs, and we're settled in. We've
Nobody
been here
died of dysentery.
No, well, Billy did, but we don't speak of him.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
My bad.
Plus, he had such a generic name, Billy. Come on. Okay, so.
But on top of all of that, I mean.
Oh yeah, no, I've been depressed. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't even touch on that in the other episode.
No, we didn't.
All we really talked about was the fact that you were filling the depression hole with chalupas.
Yes, exactly. Taco Bell. I don't touch it anymore. I can't. It's like my kryptonite.
Yeah.
Because then it's like if I have Taco Bell, I'll go right down that path of fast food. So I really have been pretty good about it. Now I just substitute it with other shitty food.
Yeah.
Instead of fast food.
Well, that's
It's a mental thing, yeah.
I mean, you're in Colorado now. You can have Jack in the Box.
Exactly. I'm changing the palate up. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I need more wine.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you've replaced Taco Bell with something safe like wine.
Hey, why not just go for alcoholism?
Cultured.
Absolutely.
That's
right.
Quality wine with a screw top.
This is good. Hey, you can smell the screw top, and that's good stuff.
So, Jill,
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about where you've been from the last time that we talked. You were talking about whether or not you were going to continue with the current adventure, or if you were going to stake out on your own and do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can solve this fucking Rubik's Cube, we can throw it away.
Yeah. The same adventure. Rereading the same book every day.
Oh, come on. You know it doesn't work that way.
So,
If you'd like to be miserable Monday through Friday,
yeah.
You know what it is? I think that
I'm
there's...
stuck on that page.
And
but
I'm probably way off base.
so right after that,
But
a week later,
I've had that same
that
thought
weekend
about
my
when
episode
you
came out, was my
when you
40th
have
birthday.
these strong feelings towards
I went
something.
to Texas because
It's
why not?
reflecting something about
I wanted
yourself.
some beach. It was
And that's
really
absolutely
fun.
true.
I
But
had a really good
here's
time. My
where
husband and I went down
I've
there. My
discovered
best friend lives right in that
the
area.
disdain
Ish.
for bigotry comes
and
from.
so we hit up the beach
Because,
and did all kinds of unspeakable things.
I
and
was a
had
person
great
who-
adventure, and
I,
so that was
for
good.
lack of a better
it was,
explanation,
back to real life,
it's
back to
probably
reality.
going to bore people to
Same
death if
stupid
I went
job.
into it. Let's just say
Pretty
my
confident
empathy
myself.
is
Never listen to
pretty
this, so that
good.
is good news.
like it's whether I want it to be or not.
But
as
you
a matter
know,
of
and
fact,
I've
I'm
been
very
I've been
aware
working really hard
of the feelings
actually
of other
on
people.
my
I'm
mindset
very
around
able
it.
to put myself in other people's shoes.
I've been seeing
And so
something. I just
that
saw something come up
is
today
why it bothers
that I
you.
was that
Because
was talking
you've
about
got that
how
sense that
anytime
you
have,
know
like, a
that when
problem
someone
with
is
someone
behaving
or,
in a certain
you know,
way,
some difficulty,
that
like you get angry at
that could
someone
be
or
harmful
whatever, like,
to other people.
whatever that
if
issue
those
is that
other
you're
people,
pissed off at them about, is
yeah,
something
it is
that's
harmful
reflecting
to
back
them.
at you.
Because
I have a
it only
really
comes
hard
from a
time with
place
that
of
sometimes, because
insecurity
there's
or
certain
ignorance or
people
fear.
that
Yeah, absolutely. You're totally
irritate
right.
me, bother me,
And so
frustrate me, whatever.
it's a
in my
real
life
pain in the
that,
ass to
like,
watch
they
someone
piss me
do
off
that.
because they're
And
bigots,
to
you know, and
yeah,
I'm like,
and what do you do?
I'm not a
Especially
bigot,
if
so
it's
how
you know
is this
coworkers
reflecting
or
back at
or
me?
your
So I've
boss or
been
people you're going to
really-
see on a regular basis.
I really
you know, like
rejected that thought
like
for,
family.
a long time, 'cause I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm not a bigot. They're just an asshole. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
it's not me that I'm seeing in them. But, you know, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe it is. Maybe I'm missing this. Maybe I'm missing out on a huge opportunity here to, like,
Yeah.
really get past some of the garbage that just keeps, like, circling.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to get quiet. And
Things
get
that'll
calm
stop
and, like,
you from killing
try to
yourself on
understand this
Thanksgiving.
more. And this has been
Yeah.
sort of recent with some people, but like my boss in particular, it's a thing where it's been going on for a little while where the things that aggravate me about
Holidays
him, I'm
tend
like,
to get
okay,
rough
I keep
because I think
asking
people
myself, what
already
is the
have their
lesson I'm supposed
hackles
to be
up.
learning here? 'Cause
But-
I feel like if I can learn the lesson, I can get
Yeah, and then they drink.
like if I can
Exactly.
just figure it out, I can
If we
get
can solve
free.
this fucking Rubik's Cube, we can throw it away.
Yeah,
some people.
the door will unlock
Yeah.
and I can quit
You know,
that
but
shit
racist
and
Uncle
leave.
Ted,
You
like,
know?
let me tell you a joke.
No.
Like, oh, please don't. Oh,
Maybe.
can we not do
I
this?
think that
I want to
there's-
pretend you're not racist in my heart so I can still
probably
like you.
I've
Yeah,
had
and that's
that
why I don't
same
go home for
thought
Thanksgiving
about,
anymore.
when you have these strong feelings towards something, it's reflecting something about yourself.
For sure.
And
gotta
that's
be.
absolutely true. But here's where I've discovered the disdain for bigotry comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I was a person who, for lack of a better explanation, it's probably going to bore people to death if I went into it. Let's just say my empathy is pretty good. Like, it's whether I want it to be or not.
And it can be very
as a matter
difficult.
of fact.
I mean,
very aware
I've got
of
a
the feelings of other
complicated
people.
relationship with my parents,
I'm
but
very able to put
but I have
myself in
one.
other people's shoes.
Yeah, me too.
and I
And
love
so
them,
that
and
is
I
why it
continue to
bothers
love them.
Yeah.
Because
My
you've got that,
rest of my
you've got
family,
that sense that you
it's,
know that when someone
you know,
is
it kind of
behaving
goes
in a
hit or
certain
miss.
way,
I've
that
talked
could be
about it before.
harmful to other people.
I've talked about
That
my
it's
siblings
Harmful
before.
to them.
I have two sisters
it
and a
is
brother.
harmful to them.
One sister I
because
don't know
it
if I'll
only
ever
comes
speak
from
to
a
again.
place of
And the
insecurity,
other
fear,
one
ignorance, or
Yeah.
fear.
is
absolutely,
kind of a
totally.
case-by-case basis
so
on how I
It's
feel
a
about
real
her.
pain in the ass
And
to
it
watch
kind of
someone
sucks
do
because
that.
I want
Yeah, it
to like
sucks.
her.
Yeah, and,
And
what
then
do
my
you do?
brother,
Especially if it's
I don't think I've
spoken
to him in almost a decade.
Basis.
Like,
You know,
so it's just kind of like,
family.
Exactly.
you know, there it
Don't
is.
dive right
That's what it
into
is. And
Thanksgiving
then there's
dinner. I
the
know
rest
there's
of the
so
family.
many people
There's
that deal with
aunts,
this. There's-
uncles.
I've seen so
There's
many
lots
articles
of
on
people.
Facebook
I've-
of
I've-
just this, you know, just
Yeah,
debate
but
about, like,
actually,
Yeah.
I kind of do.
dealing with
Like,
people
those
with
are the
different
people
political
that,
views, you know, how not to
like,
have
as I got
arguments with
older, I
people, how to,
realized,
like, find your
oh, I
zen,
don't
be
love
in
my
your space,
grandfather
like,
anymore.
I mean,
Things that'll
like,
stop
'cause he's
you
a
from killing
dick.
yourself on
or
Thanksgiving.
others.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a
Yeah,
it's a
no,
pretty
it wasn't
pervasive
anymore.
problem. If there's this much
Sure.
discussion just
Totally.
out there
Yeah.
in the
I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Ronald
Yeah.
Reagan.
Holidays tend to
I mean,
think
you know?
already have their hackles up.
every time, and then they drink. Yay!
Yeah, and then they drink. Exactly.
Drinking brings out the
Yeah, and then to
Well,
find out he was
sometimes.
not into that at all.
Yeah, some
For me, maybe.
yeah.
But no, I mean that's
You know,
that's
but
that's
racist
kind of been
Uncle Ted,
the
like,
whole
let me tell you a joke.
dynamic of it.
No,
is
please.
I've had to come to peace
Oh,
with the
can we
fact
not do
that
this?
I'm
I wanna
probably
pretend
just-
you're not racist.
you know,
in my heart
I've had
so
to
I
make-
can still like you.
I've had to make
Yeah.
peace with the fact that
Yeah,
I have
that's
my
why I don't go
own
home for Thanksgiving.
boundaries
Yeah.
with my family.
So you say
And
that, and you giggle
it doesn't
about it, and
really
I think that
come into
it's
play
something that
for them to have to
a lot
respect
of people
them.
don't realize
because
they,
I'm
they,
so
they
far away.
Cannot find the space.
They don't really have
within
a
themselves
choice.
to realize they have
And
the power to say.
I
"No,
also
I'm not
don't
doing
wish
that."
anybody any
Yeah.
ill will anymore.
And I get how
It
hard
just
it
kinda-
is, and I get how terrible.
Yeah,
it
I
is
did
when
for a
you
long
tell
time. I
your
was
mom,
really
your
resentful.
mom, You're not coming home, or
You know,
whatever.
I would find myself
get
getting
how horrible
resentful
that
against
is,
people.
but at the same time, like,
but now it's just
you're
sort of
actually
like
a grown ass adult.
I
Yeah.
I
it can
really
be very
wish that
difficult.
you
Oh,
had more
yeah.
empathy.
I've got a
Um,
complicated
and
relationship
we're more
with my
open,
parents,
but,
but I have one.
Yeah, I know you don't have it now, and until that happens, I don't think that I'm good for you or you're good for me. And so let's
You know,
just
it kinda
say
goes hit or miss.
we had a good time when I was
I've talked
6
about it
and
before.
carried
I've
the
talked about my
ring at your
siblings
wedding,
before.
or
I have two sisters.
you know, we had a good time
One
when
sister,
you
I don't know if I'll
snuck
ever
me
speak to
pot
again.
for my high school graduation, or you know, stuff like that. Like we,
case-by-case basis.
yeah, like we had all of these things, and we have
kinda
these
sucks
memories,
'cause I
and
want
it's difficult as an adult
Yeah.
to
And then
take
my brother,
good memories
I don't think
and
I've spoken to him
associate
in
them with a
almost
person who
decade.
you no longer have good
So
memories
it's
with.
just kind of like,
Like I have
you know,
I have a lot
there
of
it
thoughts
is.
about that,
That's-
like with my
that's what it
ex-wife.
is. And then there's
Like,
the rest of it.
I had to come to a
There's
place
aunts,
where I came to
uncles,
terms with the fact
there's
that
lots of people.
you know,
I got
I
no beef
loved
with
you
them.
once.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
but
we were
actually,
awesome.
I kind of do.
Right.
Like
Once.
those are the people
And
that.
I would like to be able
Like,
to
as
go
I got
back
older,
to
I
those
realized,
memories and go,
Oh,
I like
love my
these.
grandfather.
And then
Like, 'cause
some
he's a
other
dick.
stuff happened where it didn't
Was
work
that an
out.
anymore, or was that
Yeah,
like a
but-
realization of like?
but how do
whatever?
you
Yeah, no,
how
it
do you
was never
reconcile
almost
those
conditioned
bad
To
memories
love them
with
Sure.
the
unconditionally
good ones?
when you're
Totally.
And
yeah.
I mean, when I was a
it
kid,
can
I
be
loved
very
Ronald
tricky
Reagan.
to pick and choose
Did
like
he
a
know
salad
that?
bar of
Did you send
emotions
him jelly
from
beans?
past thoughts. It's a lot easier to
Never
just
wrote that.
wall all of
the
that
heck?
shit off.
Yeah, and then to
And
find
go,
out
I'm not
that
gonna
he was
deal with this
not into
anymore.
that at all.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
But no,
totally.
I mean that's
That's exactly
kind of
it.
the whole
No.
dynamic that I've had. Is
Sorry.
Do we really need the disclaimer? I think most people know that.
I'm probably just, I've had to make peace with the fact that I have my own boundaries with my family.
Reconciliation
and it doesn't really come into play for them to have to respect them.
But I think it's
because I'm so far away.
It's a really good space.
They don't really have a choice,
right? To realize
and
you can say, we have
I also don't wish anity any ill will.
Well, it is better.
It's
I mean, it's.
Anymore.
I don't know if I can
for a long
put
time.
that
No,
in
I
here,
really
sure.
resentful.
I'm sure.
because I
I'm
don't
sure.
know if I'm good
I would
at
find
it.
myself
But
getting
I'm
resentful
I'm
against
gonna
it.
give myself credit for
But
trying
now it's
to
just
be
sort
good
of
at it.
like
I'm trying.
I really wish that
You know what? You might be
had
onto
more
something,
empathy.
because think about this.
Well,
And we're more
You are 180% definitely onto something.
Someday.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I know you don't have it now,
Let's say you have
and
a falling
until
out with
that
a best friend.
happens,
At one time,
I don't think that I'm good for you.
No,
So
seriously,
let's
at
just
one
say
time you guys were inseparable.
Yeah.
we had a good time when I was 6
I've
and
never
had
carried
that.
the ring at your wedding.
But
we had a good time when you
No.
snuck me hot from my high school
No, but
graduation.
seriously,
Stuff like that.
That
like
was
we,
the cool uncle.
Yeah, like we had all of
and
these
sometimes they
things,
just
and
go out of
we
your
have
life
these
because of
memories,
or
and
whatever.
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
difficult
Sometimes out of
as
your
an
life
adult
because of a
to
bad
take
thing. Fortunately, I
good
haven't had
memories
any of
and
those circumstances, but I know people who
associate
have,
them with a person
you know?
who you no longer
And
have good memories
that is
with.
one of those cases where it's
Like
you
I
still
have,
reflect on those fun
I have a lot of
times.
thoughts about that, like
you
with
know.
my ex-wife.
Sorry,
like,
wine is
I had to come to a place where I came to
You can
terms
still
with
reflect
the
on those
fact
fun
that
times and
I
say,
love
okay,
you,
well, there was a defining point
and
where this person
we were
then
awesome
became either an
once.
enemy or
Yeah.
someone I just
And
didn't care
I would
about.
like to
Yeah.
be able to
You know,
go
so
back
it's
to
almost like a
those
chapter.
memories and go,
Yeah.
You know,
I
so
like
you
these.
can kind of separate.
And
I think
then some other stuff
that
happened
definitely does happen. Right. that way,
where
but
it didn't
sometimes
work out.
it's
And yada yada yada.
Yeah, but
Well,
Yeah.
how
well,
do
there are
you
times where it is good.
how do you
absolutely.
reconcile
Sure.
I think
those bad
particularly with
memories
family.
Yeah.
with the good ones?
You're right, because
And
it's day to day.
it can be very tricky to pick and choose like a salad bar of emotions from past
Oh, sure.
thoughts. It's a lot easier to just wall
Yeah.
all of that shit off.
Why do you think that
Right.
is
and go, I'm
so
not gonna
different
deal
with
this
family?
anymore.
Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Is it just because of
Yeah,
proximity?
right?
Is
Yeah,
it because
totally.
they've been there?
That's
It's
exactly.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
No.
No, Sorry.
No.
Do we really need the
I
disclaimer?
think
most
it's
people know
really
that.
incredibly
momentous
aware
occasions together
on your
with
part
people
to
when you
realize that
spend
you can have
holidays,
both,
birthdays, weddings,
and
funerals,
that
with the
the
same
reconciliation
plan of
between the two.
people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of
There
like
is a shared
impossible
emotional
and
history
incomprehensible,
that's
and
not so easy to
um,
write off.
but I
as
think
somebody
it's-
you
it's
just,
a-
smoked weed
it's a
with in
really
back in high
good
school.
Right,
space to be
yeah.
Where
in.
you can just be like,
To
"Eh,
realize
I
that
don't
you can
think
say,
we're
yeah,
clicking
we had
anymore."
some good times.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
some good
You're
shit
right.
back
Well, it
then.
is better.
Well, and it's that
It's,
whole saying.
I mean,
it's,
it's.
friends
I
or
don't know if I
family.
can
You don't
put that in
choose your
good
family.
yet.
You're
Yeah.
kind of stuck with them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know
And,
if I'm good
sometimes,
at
like
it.
you were
But
saying, like, you
I'm
have a
I'm gonna give
relationship with
myself
friends
credit
and
for
that
trying to be good at it.
turns
Fuck
into-
yeah, for
Think
trying.
about this. You know what? You might be onto something though, because think about this.
Mike.
Well, you are 180% definitely onto something here.
Yeah.
That's why
You're best friends with somebody.
It's harder
Let's say
to
you have a falling out with a
choose.
best friend at one time.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never
It's
had
harder
that
to
happen.
choose.
No, but seriously, at one time you guys were separate.
Because, like you
Yeah.
I'm
said,
just
I mean,
using this
you know,
hypothetically.
it's
I've never had friends.
yeah, it does, and
but,
that's the thing. I think it
yes,
is
exactly.
really
I've
significant.
been living in your garage.
No, it's possible.
Yeah,
No, but
that's why it
seriously,
gives me such anxiety. I have anxiety.
You
about,
have got those
my
friends
parents,
that and sometimes they just go out of your
probably
life
every
because
day.
you've moved or whatever. They've moved on or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Sometimes
do.
they're out of your life
and,
because of a bad
and
thing.
I'll
Fortunately,
admit
I
that
haven't
freely.
had
I
any of those
literally
circumstances,
think
but I
about
know
my
people who
parents
have. You know,
every single
and
day, and
that
how I'm
is one of those cases
struggling
where it's like you could still reflect
with
on those fun
certain
times.
things.
you
And
know.
I remember the first time
sorry,
I came to the
wine is talking
conclusion
for me
that
right now.
my parents are going.
You can still
to
reflect
get
on those fun
old and
times.
die. I mean,
And say,
everyone
okay,
knows
well, there
that,
was a defining
but when I
point where this
came to
person
terms
then
with it,
became either
it was
an
when my
enemy
dad
or
was
someone I
trying
just
to.
didn't care about anymore.
He was trying to
Yeah.
work his
You know,
cell
so
phone
it's
or
almost like a
something.
chapter.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you can
Yeah,
kind of separate.
yeah. No, totally.
it's-
It was my dad was trying to work
that
his cell
definitely
phone or
does
something.
happen
And it
that
was
way,
like
but
watching
sometimes it's
his hands
much
kind of fumble with it.
Well,
as if
exactly.
it
No, there
were
are
an
times where it is blurry.
octopus.
Absolutely.
So let me get it straight.
I think particularly with family, that
Yeah.
is the case. And
You're right, because it could be day to day kind of thing. Where it's one day they're great.
It's like when I watch you fumble with a cell phone.
or it's like just this
Yeah, exactly.
that happens.
Yeah.
You're not good at this.
Why do
You should
think
really
that
be
is
doing it.
so different?
Yeah.
Is it
I don't
just
like
because of
people. I work in
proximity?
customer
Is it because
service,
they've
you know,
been
like,
there?
It's
like,
emotional
but I
proximity.
don't anymore,
Yeah.
actually. I've been
Yeah.
saying that for
You
a
don't
long
like
time. I
people.
don't really do that
when
anymore.
you've spent
bread and I work at a bakery.
Yes, bingo.
you know,
Yeah.
momentous occasions.
I mean, it could only be
together
better
with
if you,
people
if
when you've spent
Tim's wife worked
holidays,
at a
you know,
meat.
birthdays, weddings, funerals,
processing
the
plant.
same,
You
your
know?
clan of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
There are all of
There
these
is a
dichotomies
shared
within every human
emotional
being,
history
and
that's not
there
so
are
easy
certain
to
things
write
that we're
off
willing
as
to put
somebody
up with
you
from
just,
certain
you know,
people, and
smoked
certain
weed with
things
in the
that we're
bathroom in
not.
high school.
Everybody has those
Right.
lines in the
Yeah.
Where you
sand
just
where
be
they
like,
go,
I
I don't
think
care
we're
if you're
clicking
family.
anymore.
This
Peace,
thing is
you
my
know?
line in
Yeah.
the
You're
sand.
right. You're right.
and
I mean, well,
we're
and it's
done.
that whole
If
saying: it's,
you
you're
cross
friends
this
of the
line,
family you choose. You
please
don't
don't
choose your
cross
family.
this
You're
line.
kind of stuck with them
I think that's a really
regardless.
hard.
And you know, sometimes, like you were saying, like you have a relationship with friends, and that
With your family, though.
turns
Yeah.
into a really ugly
Especially
breakup, or
Yeah.
it fades
when
out, or
it's
whatever. And I think it's, you know, it's that emotional investment.
Yeah.
But with
Yeah.
with your family, that's like a lifelong investment,
You
and
Yeah.
so that's why there's more
It's
depth
harder
to it,
to
more breadth to
choose.
it.
Solid
Yeah.
16
Yeah.
or 18
It's harder to
history
choose
Yeah.
of
to cut that off.
them having
Yeah.
sort of imminent
Because
domain
like you
over
said, I mean,
Seems
you know,
like it
it's-
should be really
whatever they say
significant.
goes. they're in
Yeah,
charge of you,
it does,
you know, your
and
uncle
that's the
babysat
thing. I think it
you,
is
or
really
whatever the case
significant.
is, even
Yeah.
if
Maybe
it's
that's
a
why it's such a
sibling or
problem.
whatever,
Is because it is
Yeah.
so significant.
That's why it gives me such anxiety. I have anxiety
the other
about
day who was talking about
my
he
parents,
moved in with his aging parents,
probably every
and
day.
you know he's
Wow.
like 60
Yeah,
and his
I do.
dad's like
I
80.
and
He's
I'll
out there.
admit that freely.
He's out
I
there
literally
mowing the
think
lawn
about my
as,
parents
like, you know, a service
every
and
single
parents,
day.
and his
Yeah.
dad's
How I'm
out there on the
struggling
porch, like you're not doing it
with
right.
certain
And
Yeah.
he's like,
And I remember the
He's like,
first time
I know how to
came
mow
to
a
the
lawn.
conclusion that
For fuck's
my
sake,
parents are going
I've been
to
doing this
die.
all my
Die.
life.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows that.
Relationship is
But when it
not-
But when
really
I came
sinks
to
in.
terms with it,
Yeah.
Right.
it was when my dad was trying to.
I'm just saying,
He was
like,
trying to work his
I
cell
don't
phone
think
or
that-
something.
I knew you were gonna say something about
Yeah.
technology.
Technology.
Yeah, no, totally. It was my dad was trying to work his cell phone or something. And it was like watching his hands kind of fumble with it as if it were an octopus.
So
Yeah.
let me get this straight. Was his cell phone hooked to like a pacemaker? I don't get the analogy. No, but
It's like when I watch you fumble with a cell phone.
Happy birthday,
Exactly.
Jess, brother.
Work the tech support. Go figure.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly. If you're not good at this, you should really be doing
I
it.
should be doing this, helping others.
Yeah. I don't like people. I work in customer service. You
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah.
Yeah, on
like,
purpose.
But I don't anymore, actually. I've been saying that
You
for a
don't
long
like
time.
people,
I don't
or-
really do that anymore.
I don't eat bread, and I work at a bakery.
Yes,
It's
bingo.
true.
Yeah. I mean, it could only be better if Tim's wife worked at a
At a meat, but yeah, she's
processing
vegan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to suck the cork
Yeah.
out, but
There are all of these dichotomies within every
Is there
human
a
being.
video for this show?
And
'Cause we really need
There are
it.
certain things that we're
I'm an
willing to put up
experienced
with from
cork
certain
sucker.
people and certain things that we're not. Everybody has
I was
those
trying to
lines
say
in the
something
sand where they go.
nice about
I know,
my
and
family.
I'm so
This
again.
is my
I'm
line.
sorry. Talk about your
We're
dumb
done
brother
if
or whatever.
you
I'm
cross
not
this
gonna
line.
talk about my brother while you're
Cross
sucking
this
cork.
line.
Yeah, I think that's a really hard.
But that's the only way this is
going
gonna
to
work for me.
To stand your ground on with your family, though.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Especially
I found out a
When
thing that I
it's-
need.
anyone who is, I'm going to just say older than you, like
Yeah.
aunts, uncles, parents, whatever.
Totally.
Because you have a
Yeah,
history.
you know, this is
and
really
probably a
wonderful.
solid
This is a lot like
16 or
Thanksgiving. We're
18-year
drinking and
history
getting philosophical.
Yeah.
them having sort of imminent domain over you to where
Yeah.
like, whatever they say
Did
goes.
you
they're
just
in
say
charge of you,
philosophicalizing?
your aunt or uncle babysat you, or whatever the case is. Even
Yeah.
an older sibling or
I think the
whatever.
philosophizers were in the
You-
Bible
you
somewhere.
know, the relationships evolve.
Yeah.
I just saw this comedian the other
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
talking about he moved in with his aging parents. And you know he's like 60 and his dad's like 80.
And then there was the
And he's
Amberbs
out
and-
there. He's out there mowing the lawn
know what? I had a
as
funny
like
thought
a
today.
service
So
to
I'm
his
walking
parents.
I'll
And his
decide
dad's
that.
out there on the porch like
Seriously.
you're not doing it right.
walking
And
by.
he's like
You're dead meat.
he's like I know how to mow a lawn for fuck's sake. I've been doing this all my life. And
Oh,
he's like
God.
The relationship is never
they're
going to change. The
acupuncturists.
dynamic's never going to change.
Right.
Is there such a thing as an continue? Sorry.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think that it is a requirement of relationships that it maintain that dynamic. I think it's possible.
I would argue
for
that some of them
people
probably
to
are.
evolve and
sure they
understand and whatever. And I'm in a situation right now where I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I'm 40. My parents
you were
are
talking about the dynamics.
60 something. And
that is an interesting thing,
today's my
'cause I'm the
brother's
youngest
birthday.
son.
He's 44,
And there's
so we
quite a
have
big
like
age difference.
happy
Happy birthday.
birthday, Lee!
Yeah.
Cheers!
Catholic.
Yeah.
More
so-
drink.
Hey,
There
yeah.
there was a big age difference between.
But
me and the second
I'm in a
youngest.
situation.
You thumped the table.
Oh, what?
So-
You know.
I'm the youngest too, but there's 4.
Yeah. On purpose. So we're all youngest.
But
Yeah. Hey!
Yay!
I think that deserves a
I used to
Yeah,
think
yes.
I couldn't say to my mom
But
or
what's interesting is that
you know
dynamic
whatever.
has
Like
stayed
we've had
in the
conversations
fact
I
that I've
never
got
would have
my
expected.
siblings have
How's that wine
coworkers
opening going there,
that are
Chris? Do you want a
younger
bottle
than
opener?
I'm trying to
Or-
suck
younger
the cork
than-
out,
younger than
but-
me.
I know
Wow.
you can.
This is there video for this show? Because we really need it.
Yes.
I
I'm an
think
experienced cork sucker.
people would I was trying to say
like
something
they always think I'm a
nice
child.
about
I know,
it.
and
You degenerate.
I'm sorry. Talk about your dumb brother or whatever.
I'm not gonna talk about my brother while you're sucking corks, you weirdo.
Oh.
But that's the only way this is gonna work for me.
But
It's a ritual now.
Oh my god. All right,
I
perfect.
found out a thing that I need.
Yes.
You set those boundaries, Chris. You set those.
and it has that doesn't
Oh boy.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
you know this
We
is
all came
this is
closer
really
when we
wonderful.
found out my one
This
brother
is a
had
lot
cancer.
like Thanksgiving.
And it was
We're
interesting
drinking
because
and
that
getting
kind of brought us together,
philosophical.
you know, and we
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's when the best philosophical
Well, my-
cancer
happens.
Yeah.
wax
whatever party
poetic.
he had.
Did you
um,
just say philosophicalizing?
and
Philosophizing.
Philosophizing.
we went all went to a
I think
funeral,
the
you know, so,
philosophizizers
I mean, there
were
was
in the Bible.
there
I was gonna
Somewhere,
say
yeah.
they were right next to the Philistines. I
Yeah,
guess.
Yeah.
They shared a
the,
border.
Proverbs or something.
not like daily, but every couple of weeks. It's like, hey,
Our proverbs.
And then there was
Proverbs.
the ambverbs. And,
The ambverbs.
It's
And
almost as if
you know what? I had a funny thought
you had
today.
that
So I'm walking by.
structure that-
I'm gonna just
thing.
seriously.
Maybe it's a case
I'm
of
walking
having
by
smack that you need to like
an
hey, we're all mortal, we're all
acupuncturist
gonna die,
office
you know?
on the way into work today. Not to side,
I don't
to
know.
like
It's
segment.
Colorado.
Keep the
Yeah,
topic-
no, exactly. And they're acupuncturists. Is there such a thing as an estipuncturist? You know, someone who just kind of estimates, so not quite as accurate. You know.
God, I
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, we're just gonna.
Go now.
A trainee.
Because he Van went.
He Van went.
I would argue that some of them probably are.
I'm sure they are.
Well, actually, you
I
know
just,
what's interesting?
you know, it's one of those.
Here's a
It
guy
was a
who
thought that I had
we
today.
all knew
Anyway,
as one
so,
growing up.
but you were talking about
And
the
little
dynamics,
town that he was in, you'd
and that is
swear
an
he
interesting
was
thing because
doing
I'm the youngest
work
of 7,
daily.
Yeah.
and there's quite a big age
That's
difference
a
between.
shit ton of
It's like, and I
kids.
told my
Yeah,
sister,
they were
Catholic.
Catholic
we
rabbits.
didn't love him, but he was,
So
it was that
there was a big
obligatory
age difference between me and the
love.
second youngest.
I'm
who
the
was one
youngest
of-
too, but there's two.
Well, yeah. So
I'm the youngest too.
yeah, amateurs.
Yeah.
So we're all youngest.
Look at this.
High fives for the youngest.
Yay! I think
So-
that deserves a drink.
Yeah,
Oh,
that does every drink.
Yeah, youngest.
But what's interesting is that dynamic has stayed in the fact that I've got my siblings have coworkers that are younger than them, or not younger than them, younger than me.
Yeah.
That they look at as
Yeah.
colleagues.
Yeah.
But when I come around, a lot of times I'm still the kid brother.
You're just that kid brother in a turkey costume.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And I think
and it's like they always think I'm a toddler, and you know. No, but it's just it is interesting how that goes.
Yeah,
But
it's
to
crazy
get on
to
an
see
interesting
something like
point,
that. And
my family
I've
is
always
not
said for
close. I'm
years
like
that
Chris.
death
You know, I
brings
had
the
one
best
brother
and
who
worst.
literally I talked to on my 30th birthday.
Yeah,
And I talked to
100%.
him the next on my 40th birthday.
Like
for-
Yeah.
Exactly.
Completely.
Yeah, no,
But
absolutely. Speaking
Our
of, that's one of my
family got
wife's
closer, at least for a little while. I was
aunt's
talking with one of my
house,
brothers,
and I'm
but I
gonna
talked to
meet
him.
18
You
people
know, just the
tomorrow.
other day. Just we talked,
Never met.
and it has
I have no
that
idea.
doesn't usually
It's
happen in
gonna
my
be
family.
interesting.
Yeah.
And they're
Well, that's
And
what booze is for,
We
my
all
dear
came
boy.
closer when we found out my one brother had cancer,
Bring a little crack
and it
on
was
you.
interesting because that kind of brought us together. You know, and we all came to
Yeah, you
his
know, I mean,
cancer,
if I had to draw a line
whatever
somewhere,
party he
I'd
had.
say
You
you're
know,
in
'cause we celebrate
Colorado.
that.
No
Yeah,
crack.
And,
No crack.
Yeah,
we
no
had,
crack.
we went
you know,
all went
maybe
to his
meth.
funeral and that, you know.
Meth,
So I mean, there was
Yeah,
there was
yeah, there's plenty
a
of that
lot
around.
of us
And I've been thinking about
coming
that.
together. You know, we chat almost on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the weight is your
Daily,
teeth.
but every couple weeks, it's like, hey, how's everybody doing?
Well, that's what
And your
you
bank
did
account,
before. You know,
And
so
your family.
It's almost as if, you know,
And your friends.
you have that structure, that thing. Maybe it's a case of having a Godsmack that you need to, like, hey, we're all mortal.
Yeah.
We're gonna die. You know.
Yeah, you know.
I don't know. Keep the topic.
Oh.
yeah.
So this is going just as well as I hoped it
Yeah.
would. Yeah.
Your brother,
This is great.
his soul is
You
just
know,
like,
it's
"To
funny
be
that you
fucking
bring all
dying
of that
for
up
Exactly.
too,
Get
because
together.
Well,
the-
we call him Van
the-
Gogh now.
Oh,
well,
perfect.
all of the stuff about your
He Van
family
Went.
dynamic,
He Van
and
Went,
when
and he's
somebody
now
dies and
famous
people
after
getting
he's gone.
closer and all
Poor
of
guy,
those things.
yeah.
No, actually, you know what's interesting is
I did get a
here's
little
guy
closer
who
to my sister,
We all knew as one way
when
growing up.
She got
And
cancer.
the little town that he was in, you'd swear
I did get a
he
little
was,
closer
you know,
to her when
George
she got
Bailey.
cancer.
It was like the whole town
but
just
there was
loved him.
also a part of
And
me
it was
that
like,
was
and I
like,
told my
Oh, and you
sister-in-law.
didn't.
Why
Well,
the
it wasn't that
fuck
we didn't
are
love
you
him,
still
but he was, you know,
chain
it was that
You know, like,
obligatory
come
type of love.
on.
It was like, hey,
Judgy
brother.
I know.
What kind of chemistry on this?
It
God,
was,
I hope so.
I guess
it was,
I'm
I
a
don't
little
remember if
late.
this one lets us fucking swear. Oh, well.
It really
Anyway,
doesn't.
so
he had lung
we
It was like
we all knew that about him,
Yeah.
and then it was kind of like, okay, well, a whole other side of him.
Well, yeah, at that
You know,
point, for
lost
sure.
that little
No,
thing,
hers
you
was
know, and It's
operable.
like,
Well, he was not
Yeah,
one
it
of
was
7
operable.
anymore.
well,
He was
exactly.
Yeah, at that point,
himself.
exactly. But he,
Right.
was like
Oh,
Little
you
League
know,
coach
to
and the this
change
and the that,
subjects
and volunteered
in
and helped. He and his wife, you know, and I thanked her. I actually thanked her. I was like, thank you for
Few
bringing
months.
that part of my brother
And
out. You know, so it was
what
cool,
it is,
you
maybe
know.
we're
But,
thankful for.
Yeah,
at-
it's crazy how it
the
takes
place
something
where
like
we're
that.
at
And
right now.
I've always said for years that death brings out the best and
Uh-huh.
worst in people.
Oh, I agree with
You know,
that.
it totally does.
Just like Thanksgiving dinner.
Like Thanksgiving, exactly.
completely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Speaking of which, I'm going to my wife's
restart.
aunt's house,
Here.
and I'm going to meet 18 people tomorrow I've never met. I have no idea.
Sweet.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
And their
well, that's
cousins.
what booze is for, my dear
Absolutely.
boy.
Hey,
Actually, I'm
see
going to
that?
bring a little bit of.
that.
Bring a little crack rock too.
How do you?
Oh, perfect.
Hey, share.
Like I said, this first.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
Anyway,
if I had to draw a line
I'm
somewhere,
thankful
I'd
for
say
that. I'm
you're in
thankful
Colorado.
For
So
no
crack is
crack.
legal. Oh, no crack.
Yeah, no crack.
This year, I'm
you know,
thankful for
maybe
to be
meth.
alive.
Meth,
Yeah.
actually,
there's
I
plenty of
find.
that around.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
that's a
plenty of
good
that
weight
around.
loss. And I've
Because
been
I know
thinking
that
about
there was a
because
period,
I
loss, tooth loss,
not
whatever.
that long ago.
Yeah, my
like,
teeth are fine.
Some of the
Last-
weight is your teeth.
They won't
Oh,
be.
that's true.
Maybe.
You're right.
You can't.
Well,
where
that's
Hey,
what
Bill,
you
it's
do.
all-
the idea of being
your
alive
family.
was something
He
that you
brings
still
it
wanted
back around.
really making
Friends.
peace
That
with.
little callback? Yeah, well,
I mean,
hey, who needs friends when you got Topo? Wow, I'm getting lit.
Yeah.
Break up, Timmy.
Pour more.
So I
So
was
this is
just
going just as
Yeah.
well as I.
Yeah,
hoped it
but
would.
then what do you do with that thought once you
This is
have
great.
it?
You know, it's funny that you bring all of that up too, because the
What's that?
well, all of the stuff about your family dynamic. And
Oh, yeah.
when somebody dies and people getting closer and all of those things. I did get a little closer to my sister.
They said all that does is
when
transition the pain.
she got
onto someone else.
cancer.
It really made me think, and I'm like,
I did get a little closer to her when she got cancer.
That's absolutely true.
because all
But
you're
there
gonna
was
do
also
is you're
a part of
gonna
me that
pass
was
your
like,
pain. Not like I'm in pain.
why the
It's more
fuck are
just
you
a-
still chain smoking?
yeah.
Well, but you know what?
Come on.
All right, Judgy
to a point-
McJudgerson.
I know.
Well,
Step
if you,
it
what
back.
kind of cancer did she have?
Yeah.
It was,
But you would
No,
absolutely
Well, the
transfer
reason why I'm
that
saying
onto
is my
someone
brother
else.
first thought he had lung cancer,
yeah.
And it would
and it
fuck
was
my
stage
life
4.
up.
Yeah.
It was like,
And so
you're
it's
gonna
like,
die.
those are the reasons
So
why
he
I
just was like, fuck it, at that point. So I can
Well,
see
yeah,
that,
that- for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
That's
hers
why.
was
So I
operable.
thank you.
Hers was, then at
Yeah,
that
it's
point you
operable.
don't smoke. You know,
Yeah, at that point.
you
and-
roll around in asbestos, but you don't smoke. You know?
Oh,
Pretty
you
much
know,
tell myself,
to
you know
change
what?
subjects in time.
No matter how bad things can get, there are people.
There are stories, in fact, speaking of yoga, there's this guy who was severely overweight, could barely walk, and he overcame his inability to walk by doing yoga, and now he's like running around and all that kind of stuff.
Was his name Tim?
No, because
It
Tim
could
is
be.
still Tim is still pretty fat. But the thing is,
The operative word is pretty.
True.
Not really pretty bad.
Well,
A little.
a little fat. Okay, I'm a little fat. I'm like doughboy fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cute.
So anyway, the fact of the matter is, though, is that I have no idea what I was talking about.
something.
I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
No one cares.
Nobody
Jill,
cares.
what do you have to say?
That was me earlier.
This is all going
Sorry.
very well. I was
Right.
hoping it would
Is
go
it
like
really?
this.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, this is honestly what I was hoping for.
oh good.
You know,
Something in the
here's the
madness.
thing. The standard episodes that I put out are they're very well thought out. They are lucid conversations between people, usually having coffee, hyper wired,
Why?
really well thought out,
How did it-
really at the top of their faculties. And right now, we are the exact opposite of all
And
of that.
conscionable amount of wine. And so it's just like family
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
exactly.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what I wanted to simulate was
We're
a
there.
drunken Thanksgiving with family that you actually like. Because you guys are the family that I picked.
That you
Yeah.
picked.
That I like.
Exactly, absolutely.
That's the first
And-
time I've been picked for anything in my life.
Yeah, you know what?
Yay.
I gotta say something. I just gotta say something.
Okay. Your
Today
turn.
is the first time I met Jill,
Yeah.
and I feel like I've known you for like 2 hours. No, seriously, I feel like I've known you for a while. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe you don't feel the same way.
No, well, maybe because I listened to your podcast episode for the second time today.
Oh,
I
sorry.
feel like we've spent some time together.
She knows what you'll eat.
You know what though?
Not
yeah, that's
eat.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
But
I was
we've had
really
this story-
hoping you weren't going to say you were eating like lentil loaf for Thanksgiving.
I do. No, I do.
No,
I actually
like
do.
in general, sure, but for
No.
Thanksgiving, that's not a turkey.
No, it's not a turkey. I am going to my wife's aunt's house though, and she'll have turkey.
Okay, good.
So I will have turkey.
Yeah.
But
I'm mostly vegan most of the time.
Really?
And- yes.
I
And
honestly,
I am anti-lentil loaf.
Yeah.
honestly, lentils are hit and miss for me. Sometimes they give me bad gas, and sometimes they don't.
I'm glad
So,
you didn't eat any today.
I do
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's a small room.
We would know.
Small room. You would definitely know.
Yeah.
But
It's like bad meat or good cheese when you're around sometimes.
Love me some good cheese.
I love that.
Really.
Just think of me as good cheese. So,
Forever after.
yeah, no, but Chris and I, when we first met, it was like instant hit.
But you've known each other for how
No,
long?
no, no. When we first met, like
We
the
were like
first-
this the first day
The
we
first
met.
day we met, it was like
I
boom.
feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is cool. This is very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I remember specifically, like, he called me on the phone to tell me that I didn't get the part I auditioned
You should
for.
maybe give the backstory.
Which was
Did we do the backstory?
absolutely correct. I don't know if we gave it or not. I'll give it very quickly.
Yeah, real brief
It's a
story.
quick story.
I'm gonna finish this wine off.
I was, again, I was trying to be an actor.
I
And
think you were actually doing it. You just...
a little, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, you were
I
doing
did
it.
make a lot of things,
Yeah.
and so I do have a body of work I can point at.
Yes.
So I guess yes, I was being
Yeah,
an actor.
You were an actor.
So I was going to audition for this zombie movie that was happening, and so I'm there. There's another guy. We're hanging out, and then this other
Raoul.
guy, Raoul.
Raoul.
And he
That sounds
brought
like
a
a
boa
zombie.
constrictor, which
What?
was
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
It was fucking awesome.
He was like, I got a snake. Maybe they'll let me in.
and of course we did.
Yeah. And he was awesome.
Wow.
And then this other guy shows up. We were the first two people there. And then this other guy shows up. And he's like, oh, hey, you guys here for this zombie thing? And we were like, yeah, we're here for the zombie thing. I'm
Oh,
like,
the
I'm trying out for this
self-commercial.
part. And he's trying out for this part. And then, like, what are you doing? And the guy was like, yeah, I was thinking about maybe trying out for this cab driver role. It's really small, but I'm not a real good actor. And so, I just wanted to be a part of something. That's all. And so we talk for a little while. And then finally the guy starts laughing and says, all right, I got to come clean. I can't do this anymore. Here's my card. And it was the producer of the film,
Oh, of course it was.
Tim.
And that is so out of character for me.
Yeah. And so then, cut to, I audition, and of course I tried out for the lead, and then I tried out for the second male lead, and got neither. But
I told you why.
But
Because you're stupid.
it's because I was bad. But
No,
you know what I was good at? I was good at
canoeer number 1.
Yes.
And so,
You were born for that.
honestly, if you watch the movie, I'm a lot happier that I got that part because it was really a great moment. And then I got to be a zombie later.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And so being a zombie later was great because I got to hang out with special effects guys and get makeup put on at 4 a.m. in some guy's garage for like 6 hours.
That
It was
sounds
the
fun.
greatest experience of my life. I loved everything about it. And I got the phone call that I didn't get the part that I wanted, but they wanted to give me this other part. It had lines, so technically, it was a speaking part. I'd be in the credits.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so he calls me up, and we're on the phone for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And
Jesus, you girl.
I know. My wife was like, somebody has a gentleman call us. Yeah,
And we scrapbooked.
and I gotta be honest. I mean, I literally had that feeling that you get when you get like a slight crush on somebody. I was like, I love this guy. He's just the coolest guy. I don't know where to put this because I hadn't really had a friend in a long ass time because I had severe social anxiety and I never went out and I didn't go places or do things or meet
Right.
people.
It's kind of hard to meet people
Well,
when you're
and-
just inside.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I think you invited me to one of the Banana Convention, your band's concerts, and I almost invited him to my freaking wedding.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
Awesome.
it was
Yeah,
just, we
pretty
just hit it off
immediately.
immediately.
We just hit it off, and it
Yeah.
was like he was my best friend immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
That's
really
good.
wild.
Yeah. So it's been a really strange.
So that
thing.
wasn't an accident. Can I just tell you that?
Yeah, you can tell me whatever
No,
you like.
exactly. I completely believe in that. I absolutely believe in that.
That was not an accident, and it was not a happenstance, and it was not a chance that it worked out that way.
Yeah.
And this might be like super woo-woo for
I
anybody.
love woo-woo stuff. I really do. I genuinely do.
I was raised very differently from any of this thought process, but what I think and believe and understand now that like every time I hear more about it, it just makes more intuitive sense to me, is that, our souls go into the void, whatever you want to call that, and then they come back, and that can happen many times. And we have soul connections with people. And so you guys might have been like brothers in another life. You know? You might have.
more.
It's true. And that's
It's true.
No, you're absolutely
It's
right.
hard to wrap your brain around sometimes.
No, that's...
but
You know what? I had a dream one time
about
that I
Chris.
was... No. Yeah, it was a dream that was a little moist. No, but seriously.
Like
I had
a Duncan Hines.
No, but seriously, I had a dream one time, and I didn't know, and not to get really dark and gory here, but I had a dream that I was in a Chinese, follow me here, it sounds funny at first in the sense of the context. I was in a Chinese bathhouse, okay? And all of a sudden there were Japanese soldiers Japanese soldiers throwing like canisters of gas into this Chinese bathhouse.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't know that the Japanese were as brutal to China as the Germans were to the Jews. And I had this vivid dream. Mm-hmm. So I think we come around a few times. I mean, there's a theory that, it's like a roller coaster. It's like, let's go ride Earth, and then let's go back.
Yep.
So...
Yeah, and like sometimes you're in the car with the same person, and sometimes they're in the car behind you, and like you just share a moment in line or whatever. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And so, for you guys to have the friendship that you have, and for it to develop so quickly and easily,
It
and
developed fast.
for
It
it
was
to
really fast.
withstood time. I mean, that's. Anything else you do in your life takes like practice and work and effort
Sure,
and learning
yeah.
and whatever. Like you already did the work.
Yeah,
So like you just showed up and you were like, "Oh yeah, I know you. What's up?"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I really
Well,
do
and
believe that.
also too, I mean, to look at the relationship that we have, it is a lot more like family.
Yeah.
Right.
Because my instinct is to say it's a lot like falling in love with a person. Because
Really?
yeah, because
Brown
when
chicken,
you
brown cow.
you know what I mean? I mean, because when you fall in love with a person, there's an infatuation.
Yeah.
There's a giddiness. There's
there's
the person's
excitement
always
level.
there's an
Yeah,
excitement.
absolutely.
The person's always in your thoughts.
And then there's the sex.
Yeah, and then there's the sex.
And then there's the cuddling, and you're just
Right.
good after that. Yeah.
There was
But
no
since there was
sex.
no cuddling, Tim,
Tim!
there was no.
You heartless
but
asshole.
but
Oh, I almost knocked the wall out.
but
Sorry.
the point of it was that we did have more of a familial bond.
Yeah.
Because there was an immediate connection of, oh my God, this is amazing. This is everything that I ever thought that having a brother would be like.
Yeah, friends, we're
yes,
good,
absolutely.
we're
And-
buddies,
Absolutely.
we're close, we're
Because
share.
there are times where I am unbelievably infuriated by him
Sure.
Really?
and still love him to death.
No.
Do tell.
That's another show.
Oh, okay.
But still love him to death
Right. Oh, yeah.
in a way that, like, my real brother could do a quarter of that, and I'm like, I'm out.
Right.
So but it does strike me as that kind of family bond.
Right.
The unconditional thing that you
Can I
always
say
dream of.
something?
Yeah,
else
it's an
about that?
unconditional love.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, along with that belief process is this idea that when we're waiting in line for the roller coaster, we make agreements with each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
go on. Mm-hmm. I've never heard this.
Yeah. So, there's this concept that we make agreements in this other space to be in each other's lives in whatever capacity that we are. And I think this might be actually really helpful to some people who struggle with their familial bonds and those relationships. If you can look at your strained relationship with a loved one as something that you both agreed to. If you can live, and this goes beyond just the relationship, but if you can live your entire life as if you chose every moment, even when you really, really haven't, like the really terrible things, even if you can somehow find a place to think, okay, what would this be like if I chose this?
Yeah.
Then you can move forward from the angst and the anxiety and the turbulation and the grip that it has on you. And you can say, okay, so in this relationship, like for you guys, like in this friendship, like we chose to show up for each other in this moment in time as humans and be bros and have a good life and, intersect in the ways that we do. It gives you an appreciation for this situation not being random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you can look at it with, your strained relationship with the sibling or the parent or whomever, and say, we chose to show up for each other in this way. And it even goes so far, and this is like, sorry to go way down into the hole, but even goes so far into the space of someone who is abusing someone else. If you are abused by someone, if you can think that, and I'm trying to be really delicate here because I know there's so much emotional charge behind this, but if you can think, my soul looked at their soul and said, I choose to be a tool for your growth. And I know it's going to be painful, and I know it's going to be sacrifice, and I know it's going to take everything that I have within me, all the power and all of the wherewithal and everything that I can dig deep out of myself to be this tool for your growth. I'm choosing to do that. And so you come into this life and you're in this situation and this other person is affecting you in a way, you're affecting them back. If you can frame it and understand that there was possibly this option that you chose to be in this place, to try to help this person, to try to be bros with this person, to try to have this like untouchable love with someone, like the storybook romance,
Yeah.
if you can realize that we all chose to be where we are. Your children chose to be your children.
My kid, when he was about 2 years old, actually, you know what? I'm going to even switch to a different story. One time my wife and I were walking into, there's a store back in Michigan called Meijer. It's kind of a Walmart type thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking in.
From the Midwest.
From the Midwest, yeah. Sorry, I'm going to smack that no more. And all of a sudden this kid, swear to God, this kid who couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 years old, riding in the front of the cart. His parents are walking, pushing the cart, and he's in there. Swear on my dad's grave, he turns to me and just goes, "Hi, Tim."
Yikes.
And my wife goes, "Who was that?" And I go,
I
have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And it's
And
just
what you
like-
meant was, honey, we've got to talk.
No,
There was-
right.
There was
knew
a
you.
night where
There was a
I
night-
knew a lady and...
Yeah, so I
He
believe
knew you.
he knew me somehow. I mean, it was weird as shit. He just goes, "Hi, Tim," like
Yeah.
he knew me. And I remember when I was little, you hear about that whole, kids who were like 2, 3, 4 years old are still kind of connected to the other side. Or
Oh,
whatever it
yeah,
happens to
for
be.
sure.
So maybe he still was. And
Oh, yeah.
and we've lost touch with that, The same way, I look at it the same way as somebody who makes a lot of money, who was once destitute and broke, loses that connection with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
they don't remember what it was like to not be able to afford cable.
Right.
And so it's or groceries,
Right.
so it's kind of that same kind of connection. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting how Chris and I how we completely just
that does
reconnected. Or
track a
connected.
little bit too, because I mean, if you think about it, try to remember what you were doing the first Tuesday after you were born.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
Right.
No.
You can't.
I remember
You
pretty
can't-
soon after that. but
Right.
not
Yeah.
much.
I mean, your memory is not that long.
My
and
first
so
memory was getting my butt wiped.
Nobody needs to hear that story, Tim.
I'm just gonna be honest.
And what did you learn about yourself?
I liked it.
Perfect.
Wow.
And I think that's a great way to end this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the Coffee Over Suicide Thanksgiving episode, and I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We've had a really good time doing this episode for you. I've really enjoyed everything that's happened here, honestly. And I'm enjoying the look on Tim's face right now as he can't breathe. So, as he's trying to, come to terms with his own whatever,
Freudian issues.
I would just like to say, as we wrap this thing up, I'd like to take a minute to thank a few people. So thank you, Pat D, Adam S, David K, Jason L, Ashley T, for sticking around and seeing what happens next. Your bravery means more to me than you could ever know. Thank you, Deacon Gray, for your kindness and guidance. You may be gone, but you're not forgotten.
I would like to thank my wife for being so supportive over the years. I'd like to thank my son Aiden for being just willing to go with the flow. I'd like to thank you, Chris, for helping me get the balls to come out here. And my friend James, he, in so many roundabout ways, helped me get out here as well. And thank you for coming out. Jill,
you.
sorry, I'm pointing as if they can see what I'm pointing at.
He meant me.
Yes. But and again, thank you for just the opportunity to reinvent myself. Thank you to whatever, whether it's God, the universe, or Krampus.
It's
So,
all just words.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all names for different things. I like Krampus actually.
I love
wanna see-
Krampus.
I do.
So my thanks goes to you guys for being here for sure. Chris, definitely for inviting me back, for allowing me to be.
Should have another cheers here.
Give me another drag. Hook it up.
Hook this
For
up.
allowing me to be a alumni guest. That's very, very
Absolutely.
exciting for me. Thank you to my husband, Matt, for always being supportive of all the endeavors and things that I take on. And
Nice.
thank you to my family for being supportive of all of those things. My parents just are phenomenal people who are flawed and wonderful in their own ways. And, you know, it's been interesting. My mom I talked to her today. She was excited to listen to this new episode. So I was just like, oh, wow, I'm like not expecting that.
I talked about butt wiping.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
You're welcome, Jill's mom.
No, you know, nobody can handle it better than her, honestly. It's, you know,
Wait, so your mom listens to this? I wonder what that feels like.
yeah, it's a little scary.
Yeah, I
say.
bet. I'm glad
Yeah.
my mom doesn't listen to this. I love my parents as well. Let me ask you this, Tim. Where can people find you online if they wish to find you, and if you should wish to be found?
Actually, I am going to be starting up a podcast that kind of coincides with what Jill was talking about recently. With all the death that has happened to me this year, and just the concept that I've been fascinated with since I've been little is what happens when we die.
Yeah.
I am going to be starting up a podcast called Let's Laugh About Death. It's going to be a lighthearted discussion about different theories about what happens when we die. I think what you were talking about would be a fantastic subject to be able to discuss. Are we in a matrix? Is there an old guy sitting on a throne? Or are we just nothing when we die? So, I can be found at let'slaughaboutdeath.com, which is tied in with Randomify, which is going to be essentially a brother/sister podcast to this podcast here, the Turkey Over Suicide.
Awesome.
Just this episode.
Right. And Jill, where can you be found if you wish to be found, and if people wish to find you?
You can find me, you know, around town sometimes, hanging out. But online at jilltarnoffyoga.com. I don't really use my website a whole lot. I'm much more active on my business page on Facebook at Jill Tarnoff Yoga. And I do Monday through Friday around 6:15, 6:30 Mountain Time. I do a live meditation that if you want to tune into, you can hop on with me. You can always catch the recorded videos. And they're really short, like 10 minutes or less usually, meditations that I just sort of guide you through breathing and centering and being present with your moment.
Nice.
Yeah, so I do that on there, and you know, meditation is a huge part of yoga that I think a lot of people don't really understand or recognize. Certainly people who are not super versed in yoga. So I've been trying a little bit more to put more asana or like yoga posture stuff onto my page. So like I'll just video myself while I'm doing a practice, and I'll take some stills and post a little video. So
Nice.
And if anybody ever has any questions or concerns or wonders anything about yoga or any of that, I am more than happy to converse with you. So if you want to hit me up on there, feel free.
Awesome.
Excellent.
And lastly, thanks to all of the listeners out there, especially the weird ones.
Yeah.
You can find me in your ears right now and every Friday wherever podcasts are found. But you can also write me through the Facebook page or at info@coffeeoversuicide.com. And I know the holidays can be really hard, but you don't have to have a great time or even participate if you don't want to. You can just survive. I hope to see you again next time, and as always,